what I need to do for the next show. So yeah, my camera wasn't working either. So that gives me an idea of what I need to do for next time. But I am so
Okay.
happy. I'm not going to hold you too long tonight. I'm super excited to have you as a guest, as someone who follows you and is a supporter of your platform. That is how I found you. I
Yeah.
am elated to have you.
Thank you for having me, and congratulations on season 5. Is this your season
Yes.
5? Season 5 premiere though. Okay, I'm honored to be the first guest of season 5. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, this is a labor of love. And I was telling them before we came on, trying to kind of work through some things. I was also talking and I was saying, I've been podcasting for 2 years. So I'm not new to the podcasting and doing shows and interviewing people. But this whole live thing, it's a whole nother animal. And it feels like I'm a newbie. I feel like a baby all over again. And so I really wanted to talk about confidence tonight because I know that that's
Mhm.
something that you've been diving into with your ghetto Bible studies. And we're going to talk about that tonight because it is so relatable to me tonight. Just to be on here doing this, it's like, oh my God, girl, what are you doing? Why you turn this?
Yes,
Don't do this. What is going on? You can't do this. Like, I've had so many self-sabotaging thoughts, Sonja. I've
of
had
course.
so many negative things that came up against me that I almost did not do this. Like, not even kidding. And I had to tap into my confidence. So I'm super excited to talk about that tonight. So before we jump into all of that, though, introduce yourself and let the people know who is Simply Sonja.
Hi everybody. I hope y'all can hear me okay. So I am Simply Sonja. I am a Christian and plus size fashion influencer. And I basically help women who look like me learn to develop their internal confidence in God, so their God-centered confidence, and then go through a journey of expressing that confidence outwardly, whether it's in your fashion, whether it's in your career, whatever it is that you want to do in your spare time, in between time, in the meantime. I'm your girl. And I show up looking real cute doing it. So I always tell people, like, I'm just like you. I just got a real cute outfit or whatever. So, I mean, but you can be cute like me too if you click on my affiliate links. That's all I'm saying.
I love it. Listen, I knew you was gonna come with us. I said, listen, so I ain't gonna have me out here looking like I don't
Look,
belong to nobody.
I ain't gonna have you out here looking like you just rode out the street. You know what I'm saying? If that's how you want to look. I know street fashion is a thing. I ain't knocking it, but all I'm saying is I'm gonna help you look and feel how you want to look and feel. Okay?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So I have a question because influencer is used so loosely. You know, everybody wants to be an
Yes,
influencer, but I think that we don't understand. And I tell people this all the time. When you
hmm,
label yourself as an influencer and you create a platform, it comes with a responsibility, whether you want to or
absolutely.
not, whether you asked for it or not. There is a certain responsibility that comes with calling yourself or being an influencer. So, what
Hmm.
made you or what led you to the journey of being an influencer, knowing that that would come with such great responsibility, especially as a Christian influencer? Okay.
Um, I would say this. I have been the girl who has watched YouTube from back in the day, like back in the day, when it wasn't a career, when you was going up there getting the original lace wigs from the beauty supply store that was just fishnets and tracks glued onto, so I've had the YouTube experience influence in my life for a long time. And I knew that it was something that I wanted to do, or that, well, I knew it was something that I could do, but I didn't always have confidence to do that. Literally in 2017, I think I had just bought like the newest iPhone that came out that year. And I told my friends, I was like, I'm just gonna vlog. Like, I think we're funny. I think I'm hilarious. I think my friends are funny. And so I'm just gonna put a video out. And I put this video out. I was sick. For the most part, in the video, y'all was watching me heal from a sinus infection. It really wasn't nothing about nothing. I was in the Dollar Tree buying sinus medicine because I couldn't afford Mucinex. So it really was nothing, right? Um, but I remember God asking me, I was at a point in my life where I wasn't happy in my job. And I was like, Lord, I'm at a crossroads. I really don't know. I don't have any vision for my future. Like, I've gotten all these degrees and I don't know what I'm doing. And so I remember him asking me, well, what's the one thing, if you could do one thing for the rest of your life, career-wise, what would it be? And I said, well, to be a full-time influencer. And he was like, okay, we'll focus on that. And that's literally what he said. It's one of the few times that I've heard God's voice audibly in my ear, right? Now, when that happened, I did not understand what that meant as far as the responsibility that comes with being on a platform. I felt my way through it. But one of the things that I knew, and one of the things that has always motivated me in my relationships with women in general, is I didn't want to see someone like me go through life the way I did and not have somebody to help them navigate through things that could have made the situation easier if they just had some guidance. There's a lot of situations that I've experienced in my life, relationships, career, school, my self-confidence, my relationship with God, where I was like, if I just had a woman who was maybe a little older than me or my same age, or, just a little bit more experienced, a little bit more wise, to just be like, hey, watch out for this or do that. I think I would have made some different decisions. Maybe not all different decisions, but maybe some, right?
Yeah.
And so that was my goal for being an influencer. So every time I get on camera and I talk about clothes or I talk about God, it is always me saying, all right, girl, now this is what I experienced. Okay, I'm going to tell you all my business, and then you navigate from there. And so that's why it's so much more than just getting on camera and looking cute. It is really helping women to just kind of have that extra little bit of support that they need to make better decisions.
I love that. And it's honestly why I started what I do as well. The podcast is an extension of Ever Evolving Women. And Ever Evolving Women is a community for women to have a safe space to share those experiences, like you were saying. I had a crazy baby daddy too. I didn't listen about this relationship. I did this, that, and the third. I love the Lord, but I also love some other things that are not really godly. Like, it's that place for us to have these safe conversations, because I said the same thing. I went through a very traumatic period. I had a miscarriage, and during that time, I was like, nobody's talking about this. And when I talk about it, people are like whispering, like, hey, I went through that too. Everybody was so secretive about it. And I understand because of the pain of it. But I was like, I have to turn this pain into purpose. And so I was like, you know what? I'll be the one. I'll be the one to put myself on Front Street and share my experience. And listen, it can only help, because you can't hold it over me, because I'm controlling my own narrative. And it was something that literally took off. And I had women from all over like, thank you for sharing. And so I was like, well, listen, if I'm helping these little women in my city, you know what I'm saying? Why not share with the world? And thus was born the Ever Evolving Podcast. And it's so important for the Christian influencer community to really stand up and be counted in this whole social media thing, because we need the transparency and the real and the raw. Okay. I tell people all the time, my life isn't pretty and pink, and I don't have all these perfect pictures on my social media, because that's not my life. I am real. Like, I love God, but I be going through some stuff. And so I love that about your platform. And that's one thing I think I found you during your celibacy. You were talking about your celibacy journey. And I was like, listen, Lord, you're so good. I needed this right about now.
And look, my audience corrected me. That was like, Sonja, you're abstinent. You're not celibate, because celibate is you not having sex at all. You're not planning to get married. I was like, girl, you know what I mean. Okay. But yes, that's an experience that even today, I still am like journeying through and trying to understand and trying to navigate. And I talk about it. Sometimes it makes my family uncomfortable to hear me, talking about sex. But okay, sex, sex. It's
That's how I
okay.
got
Everybody
it.
right. Everybody either has it or eventually will have it. Okay.
Right.
But it like you said, it's those conversations that we tiptoe around that I wanted to like bust open the door and be like, no, it's the tiptoeing around the topic that made me feel like I had to get out here and make decisions out of my ignorance.
Right.
And I'm tired of doing that. Like, I'm tired of stumbling into wisdom. I want to go in,
That's
knowing
good.
what the scripture says, knowing how to even bring, like, teaching women how to even bring these conversations to God and be comfortable enough to say God and sex in the same sentence.
Right.
Or God and lingerie in the same sentence, or God and whatever you want to put on to go out to this dinner with this man. You know what I mean? Like, so many things. So yeah, definitely.
I love it. I love it. So one thing I also love about your platform is the body positivity. I'm a thick girl, you know what I'm saying? Got a little extra on me, you know what I'm saying? And for years, I struggled with that. I struggled with having a little extra. And then there's this narrative now about how men don't want women that are over all this stuff. And you challenge social media and all that, which we know that's a lie. But all of these things that really challenge your confidence in your body and how you look. How you get to that point of really being like, it's all me and take it or leave it, and I love it.
That was a process. I honestly, well, I was gonna say I stumbled into it, but I didn't stumble into it. God was very strategic in a way that he worked on my confidence without me actually knowing that that's what we were doing. And so this is like the root of the Ghetto Bible Study series that I'm doing right now. Is I'm doing a four-part confidence series that talks about the fact that I had to deal with my trauma. I had to address why I thought these negative ways about myself in the first place. I had to look in the mirror. And one of the things that people downplay, or I guess another thing they don't talk about, is how uncomfortable it is to stand in the mirror and look at yourself. I mean, like, look at booty butt naked and you looking at everything.
Yeah.
Look at it all. Okay. And pick out the things that I appreciate in the way that God made me. And even the things that I wanted to change. I told myself, I was like, well, if you're not going to do anything to make them change, then girl, just get over it and let it be what it is. Let the stomach be what it is. Let the dimples be what it is. Let the square booty gang stand up. Let it be what it is. Like, why are you making a big deal about something that you're not going to actively change? I ain't coming home every day and doing squats. I'm just not. Okay. But then also the biggest part of that is I had to understand who God is and who God is to me, and understand that he made me perfect, and perfect looks different for everybody. And once I got that, it gave me the confidence to just explore with my body, explore what type of body I had, explore what looks good on my body. My very first YouTube fashion video was a Shein swimsuit haul. So my first fashion video was me on camera in bikinis. God was like, yeah, just do it. I was like, are you sure? He was like, yeah. And that video went viral for my channel at that time. My very first one. So I was like, all right, well, people don't mind. So I'm going to try another one. And it just kind of went like that. I literally was just trusting God and letting him lead me into the things he was allowing me to experience with my body. And I want to make sure that people don't over sexualize that. I'm not talking about masturbation. I'm not even talking about like sexuality or anything. I'm just talking about me being happy with what I saw in the mirror.
Yeah.
Period. Letting God help me to point out things, to say, like, you see how I made the curve of this go like this, and I'm like, you did that, boo. You did. It was cute. Okay. And
Right.
that's just what I did. And it is a journey because you're doing a lot of unlearning and you're doing a lot of changing your mindset about the way you see yourself. And it's a process. I don't want anybody to think that I have it all together. But it is definitely rewarding if you commit to that journey.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'll have to agree. I think that I'm still in the process of working on that. I think because my weight fluctuates, sometimes I'm like, okay, and the other days it'd be like, yeah, I ain't really feeling it. So it is a process that you continuously have to stay on yourself about and being like, yeah, you may not feel it today, sis, but you are still all that in a bag of chips. So I love that. And again, it's the real for me because some people will be out here and they act like they have it all together. If you do, cool. But I think we all go through moments and times where it's like, yo, I don't feel beautiful today. I don't feel, I have to, affirmations are big for me because I continuously have to those things that are not as though they are myself. And it's not even just looks. It's like I said, doing this tonight and just a lot of other things in my life that I've taken on. I had to work on the confidence and things that I know that God has put inside of me to do those things. So I love that. Part 3 of the series that you're doing about confidence, you've been talking about experimenting with confidence. I want to tap into that a little bit while we're there. I love what you shared so far. Part 3 was amazing. I made sure to go back and get my notes together. So you see me looking, that's what I'm looking at. I love that you talk about that whatever you do, basically, I'm gonna give a synopsis. Whatever you do or whatever you want to be, faith is required for that. And we know that faith, if you a Bible reader, we're going into the ghetto Bible study tonight. Faith without is dead. Okay, so you whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do, you can do that. You can believe that you can do that. But there are some steps that are required. And if we do our part, God will meet us halfway. I absolutely love that. Sometimes when we're struggling in our confidence, and again, we're talking about confidence of all aspects, whether it's in business, whether it's in relationships, wherever you are lacking in needing to build your confidence in, if you start making steps toward whatever you want to be and whatever you want to do, God will literally meet you halfway. Talk about that. I loved that.
So one thing that I love about my confidence series is I did not make it specific to body positivity or fashion. I told my followers, I told my audience, I was like, I don't know if y'all really ready for this confidence conversation because y'all be acting like y'all want me to teach y'all how to put on clothes. And that ain't what this is about. I already teach you how to put on clothes. All you got to do is copy and paste. But if you want a true soul transformation, this is a journey, and those steps are foundational, like you said, to every area of your life because we're ever changing. Every Evolving podcast. Okay, shameless plug.
That's right.
So yeah, step 3 was probably my favorite because people, they like the education, right? They like me telling, oh yeah, I gotta deal with my past and I gotta learn who God is. But okay, hurry up between that. What can I do?
Right.
You got to exercise your faith. Faith is a muscle.
You got to. Yeah.
And I talked about going back to childlike faith and having the courage to live freely like we did as kids when we just dreamed how we wanted to dream and we allowed ourselves to be curious and inquisitive and we allowed ourselves to get our hands dirty and in the mud. Adulting a lot of times strips that away from us because we get so wrapped up in our routines and our responsibilities that we forget to live.
Yeah.
And I had recently gotten to a point where I was doing that. So I was like, Lord, I feel like I've been in tunnel vision for so long. I don't know what the world going on around me. And so I made a new covenant with God that I would try to experience him in different ways, whether it was me getting back into drawing, me going to a restaurant by myself, me going on a walk, and making sure that I showed up to our dates ready to see him in a new way.
Wow.
That was super important to me because I do believe that God is an omnipresent God.
Yeah.
Yet we oftentimes don't look for him in the very same places that we believe that he is. And so I wanted to go looking for him. I wanted him to show up with me at the restaurant when I order my hot wings and mozzarella sticks. I wanted him to sit and talk with me while I'm on my sketch pad. I wanted him to meet me on my walk. I wanted him to be in the car with me on my late night drive, listening to the Isley Brothers. Like, I wanted to just do things that provided me fulfillment, that also allowed me to talk to God in a different setting, be with him in a different place, take my Bible to Barnes and Nobles and sit in the back and just study there. You know, just get out of that mundane routine. And I feel like for us, in order for us to take these leaps of faith, I always say God is a both and God. So I believe you have to have both confidence and fear. You got to have both, because the fear is going to be there, right? When God tells us to take a leap of faith, we always going to be scared. That's just going to come with it. But you have to have that little bit of confidence that's like, all right, Lord, I'm about to jump off the ledge. I don't know what's going to happen, but we out here. You need both, because he's able to use your weakness and turn that into strength. And he's able to show himself strong in your weakness. So that's that fear, right? But that confidence translate into that little bit of faith to be like, this might work. I'm scared, but this might work. And I always tell people, starting is the easiest part. It's the maintaining that's hard. Okay. But
so good.
It's easy if you just do it. So yeah, I definitely am a firm believer of getting your hands in the mud. I always think about when Jesus took mud and his spit and turned the blind and he could see. I'm like, oh Jesus, I don't know about your spit in my eye, but if that's gonna work, then that's fine. So I always think about that. I'm like, all right, Sonja, with my cute little nails every 2 weeks, how can I get my hand in the mud? And so that's just what I do.
But just like that, the spit in the man's eyes, which is we was gross, that's nasty. He literally could have just touched him. He could have just spoken and did it. Just like that was unorthodox. It's the same with us. And you also talked about that and how we have to do something different. We can't do what we always have done to get what we want to get or to be who we want to be. I have been complaining about this gut for the last 6 months, but I had to start getting up and going to the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, keep sitting there talking about it.
Well, like I said, you just accept the gut for where she is. I mean, it's kind of those things where as I get older, I'm learning that everything is a decision, right?
Everything's a decision.
And we get so afraid to make decisions because we don't trust our own judgment in certain things. But the Holy Spirit resides in us, right? And the righteous man's steps are ordered. So what that means is, even if I make a decision that doesn't turn out the way that I want, I still have to trust that God is sovereign enough. Help me clean up my mess or redirect me. You know, God, he gives us free will, not so that we can be like, Lord, just go out there and tell me where to show up. No, that's not how that works. Like, you have to say, this might be wrong. I don't know. I'm going to do it. And it's either going to come with conviction and correction, or it's going to come with a good job. Keep going. And that's the risk that we take in this life. Whether you're Christian or not, that's the risk. Making decisions is a risk that you take. Making decisions is risky. But the thing that gives us hope is that we have the Holy Spirit as our guide. Literally, I think about Jesus as our shepherd, and he says he leaves the 99 for the one. And there's moments where I'm like, all right, Lord, I'm veering off. Come get me, because you know your girl she got ADHD boo. Sometimes she need a little
redirection.
And that's just what it is. Don't be afraid to make those choices, even if it means failure and pain. You can't avoid that. And just let God be God and let him do what he do. That's the biggest thing.
Lord, I love it. Another thing that you said that stood out to me, is that personal confidence is not a group effort. I said, you know what? She better
Mm-hmm.
preach.
You better
Because
take
a lot of
notes.
us a lot of us seek this external validation and approval. And I feel like you just said, if God gives it to you and He's told you how to do it, He's working, you and Him got it. You really don't need anyone else's opinions, approvals,
No.
anything. Like, y'all got it. Because I promise God is more than enough to help
Yeah.
you accomplish whatever you're setting out to do. And so talk about that. Our personal confidence is not a group effort.
I think where when we go on these journeys, we always want to tell people, and not even everybody, but maybe a couple people that you trust, and you want your friends. We say, "Oh, my accountability partner," which is great to have accountability partners. I'm not knocking that. But when you start to invite other people on your journey, you do have to be aware that people have their own journeys for themselves.
Right.
So stop waiting on people to show up with you hand in hand so y'all can go off on La La Land skipping down the yellow brick road. That's not how that works. If you want to take yourself out, okay, if all your girls are busy that night, are you gonna stay home? Are you gonna take yourself out? Because this is your journey.
Right.
And so it's certain things, certain areas where, yeah, your accountability partners and your friends are gonna be able to show up. But then there's gonna be areas where they're not. And it's just gonna be you. And one of the things that I love about God is that He's so strategic. When I went through this journey myself for this particular time, because I don't feel like this journey ever really ends, but for this particular season that I went through it, He had me in obscurity. So I wasn't talking to nobody. I wasn't going to nobody's house. I wasn't going to no kickbacks. I wasn't doing nothing. It was just me and Him. And that got me confident enough to be in my own space, to entertain myself. And a lot of times what happens is if you're one of those people who always got to be around people, you
Listen.
lose yourself and your essence because it's hidden in the crowd of 50 million other people. So, how do you gain confidence in yourself and especially in God when you're surrounded by these people? Because when you're surrounded by people, that means you're looking at people, which always means you're comparing.
And listening. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
let's call it spade a spade. You're always looking and watching and comparing, but you need time to just be with you so that
Yeah.
when you come back around people, you're not affected or tainted or manipulated or whatever by what this or that person is doing. And sometimes that's a journey. Like, even with myself, one of the ways that the enemy will test my confidence is he'll say, "Oh, I might be feeling insecure about something, my content or something." And of course, I'll see one of my influencers that I'm mostly inspired by doing big things, right? And so I'll feel some type of way. And one of the things that he will tempt me to do is to go through their content and scroll. And as we know, a lot of times when we're scrolling, we're comparing, "Oh, she does it like this or she does it like that." And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things God told me was put that person on mute until you confident enough to look at their stuff and not compare.
Okay.
And I was like, "On mute?" He was like, "Yeah, on mute," meaning you can't see it for right now. It doesn't mean you got to unfollow them. It doesn't mean you
Right.
don't support them. It just means that
Right.
I need to redevelop your confidence in this area so that when you get around these people, you don't feel less than.
That's so good.
And so sometimes you just gotta put yourself in a little confidence time out, girl. You gotta just bring it back in and
Right.
then
And I've
come
had to
out
do
and
that.
play.
Yeah, I've had to do
Yeah.
that with some YouTubers and looking at their beautiful homes and their lives and how well
Girl,
they have it put together. And I'm like, listen,
girl,
I'm just trying to
house
make it.
refurnished in 3 months. Girl, look, I've been in my condo for almost a year. We still got temporary blinds up. Just
Listen,
okay. It'll
I
get
mean, so I love that. And I had to do that. My therapist told me that. And I believe, listen,
Mhm.
I love Jesus, but I believe in therapy too. And my therapist told me, she was like, listen, you're gonna have to unfollow or take a break or do something when you start to feel yourself or feeling less than because of what they're doing or what they have, she was like, yeah, it's time for you to come up off of social media, YouTube, or whatever the trigger is. She said, identify the triggers and get rid of them.
Yeah.
So that's really true.
Yeah, and it's okay. I want people to know that that's okay. Like, even if you gotta, like, let me take a break from Sonja real quick. Girl, take a break. I'll be here when you get back. It's okay.
I love it. Well, I've enjoyed this conversation. And I think the main thing I want people to take away from this is that a lot of times we talk about fake it till you make it. And I think that that's, cool or whatever. I think it's a faith walk too, whatever. But I really want people to understand that you don't have to fake it and that you can cultivate your confidence. And that came to me when I was getting ready tonight. You can cultivate your confidence. You may not be there yet, sis. You may not have the whatever. You may not feel confident in your body, whatever it is. We talked about certain things tonight, several things tonight. But you can cultivate what you want your life to look like, whether that's investing in yourself, and you brought that up too, even if you got to pay for it, investing in yourself, doing what, or like you said, making a decision, something as simple as saying, you know what, it is what it is. This is where I'm at right now. And that's okay. And working on loving, I always say, love what's in process. We're always so ready to get to the destination, but sometimes you literally have to love what is in process. If you're not there yet, it's okay to say, you know what, I love where I'm at now. If you're in singleness, if you like me, got a little extra on you trying to get rid of, I still can say I love where I'm at, even though I'm working towards better. I love the confidence, and I want you all to, as much as you see her post this series and talk about confidence, join in the conversation, because it is one that will help you and inspire you. Let the people know how they can stay in contact with you on Instagram and
all the things. So my Instagram is simply Sonja_M. So that is where you can find the Ghetto Bible Study replays on my Instagram TV tab. You can find outfits. You can find all the other stuff. All of me. I'm on there every day chatting with y'all. I am an influencer who talks back. So if you message me, I respond. I try my best. So yeah, you can follow me on there.
Awesome. Well, have a great night. Thank you again for joining me. I am so this was great, y'all. I didn't know how this was going to turn out, but thank you all for joining tonight. I'm going to let you have your night back, and I promise, for all of the difficulties or things we had going on, I will be sure to make sure the next show, which is Thursday at 7:30 p.m., that we work through those things and we make it all better. Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate it, KT. Have an amazing night. You have been watching the Ever Evolving Podcast.